Greetings! Happy World Benzodiazepine Awareness Day for 2022. If you are watching this, you've probably seen a few of my other videos. I have been making a Benzodiazepine Awareness Day video. This is my 6th year. My very first one was in 2017. And, you can watch my videos for all the story, or I'll just give you a little background here. I was polydrugged for 25 years. I had undiagnosed, untreated, severe PTSD. But instead, they tried to treat me for generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, and a host of other things that came along through the years that weren't any diagnosis that really applied to me. That has since been determined by my current physician, or the physician I had before I moved to the coast, and my therapist that I've had now for over 3 years. So I was on benzodiazepines off and off from 1985. Was the first time I had one was when a child died. But then I had my first panic attack in about 1989 or 1990 when I was a single mom working hard, and I had a panic attack, and that was when I was first prescribed Xanax. And I was prescribed Xanax and Ativan, either or, off and on, for very many years, until I got off of them in 2016. And when I came off of them, I knew the risks, because I'm a retired nurse. I knew the risks of seizures, and I knew that, it can be very painful and difficult. And I did taper down. I was on 4 to 6 milligrams daily, and I tapered down to 1 milligram, about 1 milligram a day. But I had just come off opiates in May of 2016, and I was in post-acute withdrawal. I wasn't thinking very clearly. I had extraordinary stress going on. I had people behaving really badly around me, and I didn't feel safe, and all of that exacerbated all the things that happened when I cold turkeyed off 1 milligram of Xanax. It wasn't pretty. I mean, if I didn't know everything that I know today, I'd be embarrassed, because I wasn't able to control myself. I acted out because I was afraid. My PTSD was so severely triggered by everything that was going on. It was just, I was miserable, and I said a lot of things, hurtful things, because I couldn't function. And I ended up hospitalized 2 different times for 12 days, and of course put on more medications. When I got off the last benzo, I'd already discontinued every medication except for Effexor, but I ended up getting put on 3 more medications and had to then come off of those, which took me until January 1st, 2018. During the years where I was in protracted withdrawals, I became homeless. I was completely estranged from everyone in my family and most of my friends. People thought I was acting out purposefully, trying to get attention, or they had all kinds of ideas of what was going on with me. But no one took the time or the energy to figure out, or help me figure out, that it was because of the benzodiazepines and the other medications that I'd been on. And my body was just having to go through what it had to go through to get back to level. So yeah, I was in a tent for 7 months with heat up to 115 degrees and wildfires everywhere around me and lots of smoke, and it was very frightening. tried to get disability. I didn't have income, not regular income. I would just do little side work when I could, but literally all I did for many years was pay for a phone and some gas in my vehicle to get me to the store and my very basic needs. For many years, it was like that. It was very lonely. I also dealt with the death of a child while I was going through protracted withdrawals. I also had COVID 2 times. And here I am today, and I just found out that the man that I had been led to believe my whole life was my father is not, and another person is my father. So I've moved, I've had trauma after trauma through this whole 6-year process. It has not been easy. Not one step has ever been easy. I've had some help along the way. Some people have been very kind and helped me, some with finances, with a place to stay. But mostly I've had to figure it out myself. I was really grateful when I found a decent doctor who finally was able to say, you didn't need all those medications, and some of the effects are going to be long lasting with you. And I've learned to accept that. I will never ever be who I was when I was 50 years old or 48 years old. I've been injured from pharmaceuticals. I'm older. I have severe PTSD, which is being treated and it's better, but all of this has taken a toll. So, being able to do things the way that I used to and having the sharpness in my mind and my brain and having the drive and the energy and not getting frustrated, not feeling overwhelmed. Those things, they get better in time, but they probably will always be there. This isn't a perfect journey. In the early years of it, I complained a lot. Loudly. Really loudly. And I cried and raged and, I was in that fear and I had the akathisia and I was so alone and I was scared. But over time, I kept seeking outside myself and outside just the general population of how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to get through this and still have a life, some kind of a life? And for me, it's been meditating, grounding, working with a therapist, doing EMDR, doing brain spotting to work on my amygdala because I was in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode my whole life. So that makes anything that's going on with me worse. And so I work on that. I work on using my wise mind and not being stuck in my amygdala. Am I perfect at it? No. I had a horrible panic attack that lasted 2 hours last night. And it was all thoughts that aren't true. And fussing about old things and things that have never come to pass. And so I've also learned to question my thoughts. Just because I think something doesn't mean it's true. And last night, as I was having a panic attack in the middle of the night, I was having all kinds of thoughts that were, when I was able to slow myself down and do some meditating and be reflective, I was able to see I was somehow manifesting all this verbiage that was from my childhood. And I was putting it in today, but it wasn't real. And once I was able to really evaluate, where is this coming from? What are these thoughts? Are they true? Are they beneficial? Do I need to really focus on them, or is something else going on? And once I was able to recognize what was going on within myself, I was able to kind of turn it around. And I've shared this with many people. I've questioned those thoughts. Your feelings are your feelings, but thoughts are, I mean, look at some of the things Stephen King has written. We can have all kinds of strange thoughts. It doesn't make them true. And so learning to question those thoughts that you're doing so badly, that's a big one. You know, we can tell ourselves over and over and over, oh, I'm so sick. Oh, I feel so bad. Oh, da, da, da. Well, that's another thing that I've learned. What you're feeding your mind, that's what you're going to be bringing to yourself and what you're going to feel. If all I'm doing is complaining and talking about how awful everything is, and that I'm never going to get better, and oh God, what a terrible thing happened to me, that's where I was stuck. When I finally kind of broke free of that mindset and went, I'm doing the best I can do. I'm doing better than I was yesterday, better than I was last week, better than I was last month, better than I was last year. You know, improvements, they haven't been just continually like this. There's been lots of ups and downs, but over time they are. If you look at my videos, I'm doing much better now than I was 6 or 7 years ago when I first started making these videos. So that's what I focus on. How I am doing better. You know, I haven't been in a hospital for any of this stuff, and I've been on medications now for 4.5 years. I haven't been homeless now for almost a year. I've reconnected with my daughter and my grandson, and I'm hopeful to reconnect with my son and my actual real father. That might be really amazing. I am slowly healing from the death of my eldest son, my second child that I've lost. It's something that you become accustomed to. It's not like you get used to it, but the shock is not there, so it's not as harsh. Still hurts, but I've managed. And COVID, you know, up until just this last month, I still was dragging, and I still sometimes have a few symptoms, some of my visual disturbances, racing thoughts. That's not necessarily COVID, but a little headache, and then the weakness. I do still get the fatigue will hit me. As far as medication symptoms, I do still, like I said, sometimes I get a little irritable or a little anxious. That still happens. I still have some visual disturbances. I still sometimes can get a buzzing under my skin, and it just feels like I'm buzzing. I can get fearful. But compared to what I was going through, this isn't bad. Is it what I wished for my life? No, not necessarily. But I can live like this. I can have a life. I had a great day today. I spent time with a friend, went to the river, played with my dogs, had a nice picnic. And even 3 years ago, I wouldn't have had the energy or the ability to process to take care of the Lola, my new dog that I got. She's a baby, and I mean, she's almost 2, but she's a lab, and she's a lot of work. And I couldn't have done it a couple years ago. I would have been too frustrated. I would have been too overwhelmed. There's so much that I couldn't do that I am now. And there's so much that I could do years ago that I can't do now. I think that happens for everybody as time passes. Things change. They change. You know, we get stronger, we get weaker. We gain a few pounds, we lose a few pounds. We have some really hard things happen, and then we have some really amazing, beautiful things happen. This is life. So I'm really, really grateful that I stuck it out. I lived with suicidal ideation for over 2 years. I have lost a number of people that I have became acquainted with through this journey because they couldn't manage to deal with all the symptoms and the life as it occurred. But I have enough blessings today that I am grateful. I have people who love me and that I love. I have my dogs. I have a great place to live. I have hopes for tomorrow. Life is getting better. So I hope this gives you some hope if you're struggling. I hope you go back and look at videos from, August, September, October, November of 2016 when I was freaking out and struggling and in pain, so much pain, burning pain and racing thoughts and feeling like cats are crawling on me. And oh my God, I mean, it was awful. I've had a lot of awful things happen in my life. And I can either choose to focus on all those or I can focus on what feels good today. And making a video for all of you is what feels good today. So, thank you for watching. Feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to answer questions. And don't give up. Find what's good and what's worth living for. Even if it isn't perfect and ideal and exactly what you think you want, there might still be something that's really good in the life that you're getting. Okay? All right. Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching.